This is a really tough story. It's about compassion, but it's also about a level of greed that's just hard to wrap your head around. And it all centers on a 31-second video clip. A clip that captured a final moment of love just before a truly horrific murder. It's a case that shows you exactly how far a family will go when they think their inheritance is on the line. And this is where it all starts to fall apart. March 25th, just before 7 in the morning. The sun's barely up, and an anonymous call comes into the Maplewood Police Department. This one call is about to end an 11-day citywide search and kick off a massive murder investigation. The voice on the phone, it's distorted, weirdly calm, and it's chilling. It gives one single, horrifying sentence. Riverside Warehouse, Unit 4B. There's a body. And that's it. The line goes dead. Cops are immediately sent out to this old, abandoned warehouse district, a place that's been shuttered for years. So they get to Unit 4B. Inside a back room, locked from the outside, they make the discovery everyone had been dreading. It's Alicia Turner. She'd been missing for 11 days, and there she was, still in the navy blue work scrub she was last seen wearing. The whole city had been looking for her, and she was right here the entire time. Now, to understand how Alicia ended up in that warehouse, we've got to go back a little bit. See, this wasn't some random crime. This story is really about Alicia, a caregiver, and the man she looked after, an 82-year-old named William Hargrove, who had been pretty much completely abandoned by his own family. I mean, just look at this. The change is unbelievable. Before Alicia, William was just wasting away. A car accident left him paralyzed, and his family just sort of forgot about him. But after she started caring for him, he came back to life. She didn't just do the job, she cared for his spirit, you know? She'd bring him his late wife's lasagna recipe. They'd listen to Miles Davis for hours. She basically reminded him that he was still a person. And this right here, this is from William's own journal. It tells you everything you need to know about his family before Alicia ever came along. He wrote, "My family vanished the moment I became a burden. I was only valuable when I could write checks." He knew exactly why they weren't around. To his kids and his grandson, he wasn't a father or a grandfather. He was an ATM. 31 seconds. That's it. Remember this number. That's the total amount of time a neighbor's security camera captured something that would become the prosecution's single most powerful piece of evidence. It sounds like nothing, right? But believe me, this short little clip, it would prove everything. So here's what those 31 seconds showed. It was the evening Alicia disappeared. The camera catches her pushing William's wheelchair out onto his patio. They're talking, you can see them laughing, and then she leans down and gives him this tender, 4-second-long kiss. It wasn't for show, it was just two people who clearly loved each other. And that was the last time anyone ever saw her alive. And this is exactly what the prosecutor later told the court. That 31-second video, it wasn't just proof of a relationship, it was the entire explanation for the decision William made next. A decision that, tragically, ended up being Alicia's death warrant. The whole thing really blew up the moment William's son, Bradley, just happened to walk in and see his father and Alicia holding hands. Suddenly, the family that had been gone for years was back. They started showing up, screaming at Alicia, accusing her of manipulating an old man. Well, when that didn't work, William made a call to his lawyer that changed everything. And wow, these numbers tell the whole story, don't they? William absolutely gutted his children's inheritance, taking them from $1.5 million each down to just $200,000. And where did the rest go? He left the bulk of his estate, $2.5 million plus the house, to Alicia. In his mind, he was rewarding the only person who actually cared about him. His family, they saw it as an act of war. So after getting a tip from a mole inside the law firm, the Hargrove family found out about the new will. They tried to challenge it legally, but the court declared William was perfectly sane and lucid. So they switched gears. They went from a lawsuit to a murder plot. Their new plan was to, in their own words, eliminate the obstacle. This timeline is just, it's horrifying how efficient they were. Look at how fast this all happened. On March 5th, William changes his will. Just 3 days later, on the 8th, the family knows. By the 10th, his grandson, Tyler, is already on the phone with a hitman he knew from his military days, and the very next day, they're pulling out the first cash payment. It took them less than a week to go from being angry to funding a calculated murder. So you have to wonder, how did the police untangle all this?
Well, after that anonymous call led them to Alicia's body, the very first big breakthrough came from a simple property search. That abandoned warehouse where they found her, turns out it was owned by a company owned by Bradley Hargrove. And from there, the whole thing just came crashing down. The evidence started piling up fast. Phone records connected the grandson Tyler to the hitman. Bank records showed the two cash withdrawals totaling $50,000. Forensics found Alicia's DNA inside a rental van they'd used. And the final nail in the coffin? A text message from Tyler to the hitman sent just minutes before Alicia left William's house that night. It just had her license plate number. It was completely airtight. And eventually, Tyler caved and confessed to everything to try and get a deal.
When it went to trial, the jury didn't even need much time. They were out for just 4 hours. Guilty on all counts. The mastermind, Bradley, and the two hitmen got life without any chance of parole. The sister, Christine, she got 25 years for her part. And Tyler, the grandson who flipped on his own family, he got life, but with a possibility of parole after 30 years. On the exact same day, his son was sentenced to life in prison. William Hargrove died. The official cause was heart failure. But his hospice nurse reported that his last words were this absolutely heartbreaking sentence. He connected his loss, his grief, directly back to that 31-second video of their last happy moment together. And here is the final tragic irony of this whole thing. It turns out William had put a special clause in his new will. It said that if any family member was ever convicted of a crime against Alicia, their inheritance would be totally voided. So in their twisted plot to secure millions of dollars, they guaranteed they would get absolutely nothing. The entire estate went to charity. They killed for money they were never, ever going to get. So what do we take away from a story this awful? The really scary part is that Alicia did everything right. She was a kind, compassionate professional who became a target just for being decent. The warning signs weren't in anything she did, but in the family's violent reaction to her kindness. For anybody watching this who is in a caregiving role, this case is a chilling lesson. You have to document every single hostile interaction. Create that paper trail with your agency or your supervisor. Try to vary your daily routines. Don't be too predictable. And honestly, the biggest thing is to trust your gut. If you feel unsafe, if you feel like you're being watched, report it. Alicia had 3 really ugly confrontations with the Hargroves and probably just thought it was family drama that would blow over. It didn't. And I want to leave you with this. During his interrogation, before his lawyer could shut him up, the hitman Vincent Cross said this to the detectives. He didn't say if families kill for inheritance, he said how often. It's a terrifying thought to end on, isn't it? How many other families are out there like this? And how many caregivers are being watched right now, not as people, but as obstacles?